You're on CYInterview.
I'm Krishandek, featured columnist Jay Belstein is with me. Today on CYInterview, we welcome back one of our regulars, neuroscientist Dr. Kristen Willeumier is here to discuss what we know so far about how coronavirus may be impacting the brain. Dr. Willeumier, thanks for joining us again on CYInterview. How are you?
Oh, good morning, Kristen J. Always a pleasure to be here with you.
Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning.
We always enjoy having you on, Dr. Willeumier. It's still very early on, obviously, when it comes to all types of medical research regarding COVID-19. But based on your readings and knowledge so far, what have you gathered and what do you think that we know so far about how COVID-19 is impacting the brain?
Oh, thank you so much for having me come on to talk about this. And I just wanted to say a few thoughts in starting. You know, when I woke up this morning, I looked at the Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center. And, you know, as of today, we've got 22 million cases globally, 794,000 deaths globally due to the coronavirus. And here in the U.S. today, we have 5.5 million cases with 174,000 deaths. So these losses are impactful as they are our parents, our grandparents, our brothers and sisters, our friends, our loved ones, and our work colleagues. So, you know, starting off just acknowledging, you know, we're in a time of this global pandemic that's very serious. And I wanted to share that historically speaking, 6 coronaviruses have been known to infect humans. 4 of them cause seasonal mild respiratory illnesses and have a high incidence globally, accounting for 15 to 30% of upper respiratory tract infections. The other 2 have led to major epidemics, those being SARS and MERS. And of those who are infected with SARS and MERS, the numbers of people that we lost were quite small, with 8,000 and 2,500 people dying respectively. So COVID-19 by far has been the most devastating of the coronaviruses and has caused a tremendous burden on our economic and healthcare system. But with that said, we are 7 months into the pandemic and we have a better understanding of the disease and its symptoms. And while there's a connection between neurological disorders, such as stroke and other encephalopathies that are associated with COVID-19, the risk is very low, only impacting 2% of the people hospitalized with the virus. So we know the virus impacts our nervous system, resulting in a wide variety of complications, which can occur, including loss of smell, loss of taste, increased stroke risk, and encephalopathies that can cause secondary issues such as confusion and seizures. But this typically is occurring in older patients with pre-existing conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. And most of these complications are due to hypoxia in the brain or a loss of oxygen due to low levels in the blood. So in addressing this question, I think I want people to know that the good news is that from a neurological perspective, yes, we are seeing issues happening in the brain, resulting in, again, loss of taste, loss of sense of smell, increased stroke risk, and encephalopathies in the brain. But those risks are very low, and they're happening in a very specific population. And as of today, most people are successfully recovering from COVID-19. They say that 97 to 99% of the people who are infected with the virus will recover. So it's always nice to sort of wrap that up and go, okay, I don't want people to be so fearful. I want people to be knowledgeable and really understand that we don't have to be as frightened of the disease as sometimes the news portrays it.
Jay?
Dr. Willeumier, we have discussed the plasticity of the brain. And I'm sitting here listening to you, and I am heartened when you say, most people are recovering, and the chance of these, what is the proper term, sequelae, are small in percentage. that being said, if somebody were to suffer from some of these things, is there a method of therapy, a known method of therapy, to heal up from that, to return to previous function?
A great question. So, people who have recovered from symptoms of COVID should have a cognitive evaluation to just make sure their cognitive abilities are strong. So if you've had any neurological issues, that's what I would do. But the good news is the brain fog and other complications secondary to COVID-19 are treatable. We can do things such as staying on a vigorous exercise program, improving our sleep, improving our diet, and stress reduction can help reduce the hypoxia or ischemia caused by COVID. So these sorts of interventions, dietary and lifestyle interventions, as we know, can help reverse and restore brain function. And you and I have had conversations about simple nutritional changes that we can do. Again, including having a whole food, plant-based diet, drinking more water, taking nutritional supplements such as vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc to help support your immune system. All of these things collectively, getting to a healthier weight, all of these things can help to restore and rehabilitate our brain and our body so that we'll be healthier and be able to handle any subsequent impact from the coronavirus, given there might be a second wave coming in the winter.
Will eating foods, let's say, that are high in nitrates, certain type of greens, rocket lettuce, aka arugula, comes to mind. Beets come to mind, which are supposed to have a positive effect on the functioning of the endothelial cells inside the blood vessels. Does doing something like that have some kind of clinically measurable or an effect that can be measured in the laboratory in terms of increasing oxygenation of the tissues in the body, including but principally the brain?
I love that you brought up beets. So it has been shown that beets help to increase nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is a natural vasodilator. And for people who have had COVID-19 works by attaching to receptors called the ACE2 receptors on the vasculature, and it causes an inflammation of our vascular endothelial lining. And it's that inflammation combined with the virus getting into the blood and causing the blood to thicken, which is causing the small strokes that people seem to be having, the neurological complications with COVID. So yes, to your point, having beets daily or putting beets into some kind of juice that you have in the morning is very, very smart. If you think about other things like green leafy vegetables and anti-inflammatory foods, things with omega-3 fatty acids, cold water fish, salmon, mackerel, tuna, all of these things help to quell the inflammation in the body. And as we know, COVID-19 results in a hyper-inflammatory response, and it's that inflammatory response that's causing the complications that we see with respiration. So to your point, having a very clean, whole food, plant-based diet rich in green leafy vegetables, rich in kales and arugula and cabbage and broccoli and cruciferous vegetables are all going to be helpful. And we can't forget the fruits, the citrus fruits, berries, which are fantastic for the brain, have antioxidant potential. And the important thing, since we're touching on neurological issues associated with COVID, because we know that COVID-19 can infect the brain, it can cross the blood-brain barrier, we tend to see that in patients who have a massive cytokine storm. So the cytokine storm allows the virus to be able to get into the blood-brain barrier and cause these encephalopathies that they're starting to see in patients with neurological complications. So to that end, having 2 servings of fruits per day, the fruits have this antioxidant potential. And what that means is when you have them, the antioxidants are going to help to bind to free radicals that can cause damage in the brain. So think of your fruits and vegetables as protective to helping the health of your brain and your body.
Wow, this is just so powerful, and I think so empowering for people listening. Dr. Willeumier, green tea with one of my favorites, not the favorite in taste, but one of my favorites to kind of drink as a tonic, so to speak, is decaffeinated green tea with half a teaspoon of turmeric and about 7 or 8 quick shakes of black pepper into it for the, I guess what's called the piperin. Which supposedly actuates the turmeric. Could you talk about this? Is there something to this in terms of brain health, anti-inflammation, or am I just drinking a kind of not too tasty tea for no other reason than I've been marketed a bill of goods?
You know you're preaching to the choir. You and I both have been talking about health and wellness for years now. I love that you're drinking the green tea. So the green tea has the catechins, the EGCG. So not only will that help protect your DNA and bind a free radical, so it'll help protect the cells of your body, and it's great for anti-aging and calming the nervous system. So here we are in the middle of COVID. People are stressed. So what's one of the best ways to calm the nervous system? Have some green tea. You also have the turmeric, which is a wonderful anti-inflammatory spice. Not only does it taste amazing, but those 2 things together are very powerful and potent in helping to support your brain health as well as your body health. So I love that.
Are you going to be, well, it's done. I take it by now it's done. Maybe you're making a few revisions, but will your book, which is coming out, I want to say a couple of days before the beginning of the new year, Biohack Your Brain, right?
December 29th.
It's like a little belated Christmas and Hanukkah present. Will your book be touching on these issues?
My book will be touching on all of these issues, and thank you so much for bringing that up. Yes, the book is coming out December 29th. It's a New Year, New You book, and it's going to delve into the dietary and lifestyle modifications that we can make in our lives to help improve brain function. And why is this important? So we think about neurodegenerative diseases. 5 million people have Alzheimer's in the world. 1 million people have Parkinson's, in the United States. We've got 800,000 people dying of strokes each year. And then we have 40 million people who have anxiety, 17 million people with depression. So brain health issues are prevalent. If we don't have them, one of our loved ones has them. And the book is going to delve into ways, very simple and effective dietary and lifestyle habits that you can embrace are going to help support your brain health. And the reason why I wrote this is it's going to show the work that we did at the Amen Clinic, showing the research which shows following these dietary and lifestyle habits can change your brain function in measurable ways using clinical neuroimaging. And as you and I have talked, most people don't know, hey, taking my fruits and vegetables, having certain supplements, do these make a notable difference in my brain function? When you see it using clinical neuroimaging, that is a very impactful way to get people to make these changes and stay with them consistently for a lifetime. And it's really about slowing down brain aging so we can have the best quality of life possible.
You know, unfortunately, you, like all the truly great scientists, are far too modest. Not only did you do your work at the Amen Clinic? But if you can just remind people, I don't even know if most listeners and readers of CYInterview know this. You were on a groundbreaking paper with a very famous pathologist, scientist, and his life was made into a movie with Will Smith as the star, and you're on that paper. I mean, I don't know if you've even never mentioned that to our listening audience. I mean, your work is both broad and deep. Could you talk about that for a quick moment?
Oh, thank you, Jay. You're very kind. Yes, I did research with Dr. Bennett Amalu, who is the forensic neuropathologist that discovered chronic traumatic encephalopathy in the brain of Mike Webster, former Hall of Fame player. And back in 2009, when I was the director of clinical neuroimaging research for the Amen Clinics, we did what has now been a groundbreaking study looking at the effects of playing football and what the long-term consequences of playing football on brain health. And we did this in 100 players to start with, and it's no surprise that playing football is a brain-damaging sport. After we did that study, we then looked at another 161 players and really outlined which areas of the brain were most damaged in these players, and we compare them to a normative database, and that's the paper that I'm on with Dr. Amalu. And the work that we did in these assays, I think what was most inspirational is we realized how damaged the brains were, and we wanted to help them with a comprehensive lifestyle overhaul. So we wanted to say, listen, if you want to improve your brain function, we're going to do this using diet and lifestyle modifications, nutritional support, all of the things that anyone can do at home. And what we showed was the ability to restore and rehabilitate brain function using these simple principles. And we saw the results using neuroimaging, which are truly impactful. So the book is going to delve into some of that research as well. Every chapter has a story about an NFL player, so it's fun for men to read. So I thank you so much for for sharing that. You're right, I'm quite humble.
Unfortunately, it's one of the terrible things in our society today. I think that a lot of the people who are truly dedicated and creating and doing tremendous things. You were on with Dr. Hildreth. I mean, one of the great, one of the great guests we've had on CYInterview. And you folks are just so, oh yeah, that's kind of what I did. And meanwhile, we've got a society with, and I'm not hating on people, you get a society with people on Instagram who, I don't know, what have they done? What's their claim to fame? Oh, look at me, I ate a daffodil. Here, I've got a 15-second clip of me eating a daffodil. Oh, wow. They ate a daffodil, and look what they're wearing. Isn't that purple amazing? And the next thing you know, this person is a quote-unquote influencer, and they're making, God knows how much money, and everybody knows their name, and they're the daffodil eater. They're not the daffodil whisperer, they're the daffodil digesterer, and the next thing you know, they're a household name, and then maybe they get a reality show, and they become a talk show host. And the next thing you know, they're on some kind of cable news network giving their opinion about where the country should go. Because, and I'm being completely way over the top. And then you have people like you and Dr. Hildreth, and society has to hear from you folks, and a lot of times it's just crickets. So maybe what I'm saying is, Kristen, for God's sake, speak up more.
I love you, Jay. That was so gracious of you to say, and I'm so honored that HarperCollins has given me the opportunity to write a book and to share my knowledge with the world. I mean, it's a true honor, and I'm sure, I don't know if your listeners, some may know of Amen Clinic, some may not, but when I was at the Amen Clinic, we have 8 clinics nationally. 7,000 patients come through our doors every month. I helped them to create what is one of the world's largest brain SPECT imaging databases to date. When I left, we had over 135,000 brain scans. I think they're up to 160,000 now. So, I have had the ability to visualize thousands of people's brain images, whether it's electrical or functional or so this wealth of knowledge I'm so excited to share with people who are excited to read the book. And I think the most important note that I want to end on is doing the simple dietary and lifestyle modifications that we talk about on the shows. I mean, I've known you guys since 2012, and, they sound so simple. Eat your vegetables, eat your fruits, embrace an anti-inflammatory diet, have more cold water fish, drink more fluids, make those fluids water, and green tea with turmeric, and have beets. And I know they seem so simple and intuitive, but when you practice them daily, the one thing that I want to leave listeners with is they will make measurable changes in your brain function. And this is, I think, one of the most exciting pieces of my work, because Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, we have no cures. All we have are medications to help address the symptoms. So really smart people are going to start embracing the things that we talk about now, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, or your 80s. It's never too late to change your brain, and it's never too late to adopt healthy lifestyle habits. And hey, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Learning to have a few more fruits and vegetables every day is great. Cutting out the trans fats, just making these changes now, I think, is really smart. When we have the time to do it, when we're home and we're thinking more about it, I think that's a wise thing to do.
Wow, I was going to sum up. You said so many phenomenal things today. I was going to sum up and say, okay, Chris, now take us home. I don't have to. I'm not going to add anything to what you say. It's perfect. I think that everybody who's listened to this CY interview should listen to it twice, and probably listen to this ending portion of yours 3 or 4 times. Maybe we can quote the whole end, Chris, because that sums up just about everything. Dr. Willeumier, Kristen, thank you so very much as always. Hey, Chris, why don't we leave on that up note? Take us home.
So for neuroscientist Dr. Kristen Willeumier, and now author, featured columnist Jay Bilstein, and CY interview, I'm Chris Shinnick.